Welcome to the VokeMe YouTube channel.
iPhone is more user-friendly than Android, but the quality of the user experience is challenging to quantify. A better way to approach the idea might be to think about the respective design processes and philosophies behind iOS and Android. Apple is known for building both software and hardware to create smooth holes. These days, design teams overlap for greater collaboration as Apple introduces a minimalistic hardware design aesthetic to software, starting with iOS 7. So, every aspect of the iPhone is designed with iOS in mind. Android versus iOS, which is better? This is the current iOS build and the version to be iterated. Sometimes the same people are involved in the hardware and software design. On the other hand, Android handsets are built to be responsive. Hardware and software are designed by separate teams of separate companies, often on separate continents. It is unrealistic to expect the same level of gloss. Safety: iOS is a more secure platform than Android. iOS isn't impenetrable and it's hazardous for iPhone users to assume it exists, but much more malware has been written for Android. This is partly because Android has more users, but mainly because it's simply more accessible. We're not just talking about passwords and fingerprints. While these can help protect your data, one factor is how the iPhone keeps locking for longer the more you enter the wrong passcode. You can be a hacker by brooding through your passcode. Why Android is better than iPhone? It's locked forever. And we're not even talking about the end-to-end encryption Apple has added to iMessage. The latest generation of iPhones has something better than all of this. In addition to introducing Touch ID, the iPhone 5S was the first iPhone to feature a security measure Apple calls the Secure Enclave, a subsection of a processor chip that stores fingerprints and other security-sensitive data. It is also an essential part of your encryption setup. The Secure Enclave uses a secure boot system to ensure the running code cannot be modified. It prevents the rest of the system from reading or tampering with the data. It effectively forms a tiny computer inside a computer that is difficult to attack. Secure Enclave means that Apple cannot break into iPhone 5S or older and is password protected. On the other hand, Android phones are cheaper than iPhone, or at least Android phones start with a lower price. This is another aspect of the choice argument. Apple has a handful of excellent phones, and they are reasonably priced. In the Android world, you pay only for what you want. This is good news for mobile shoppers on a tighter budget. High iPhone prices are usually worth it. A common refrain among Android fans revolves around the price difference between Android and iOS handsets, as the iPhone is near the top of the smartphone budget. It's also true that today's Android handsets are cheap and beautifully made. But to paraphrase the sad old gag, affordable handsets aren't made beautifully, and beautifully crafted handsets aren't cheap. The biggest difference between iPhone and Android, now that we've summarized the biggest differences, let's move on to a more accurate comparison between iPhone and Android. 1. Operating system: Apple phones run on the iOS operating system, whereas Android phones run on the Android operating system. iOS is only available on Apple devices, while Android is available on phones from various manufacturers. 2. Hardware: Apple designs and manufactures phone hardware and software, allowing for more excellent optimization. Android phones are manufactured by various companies, each with its hardware specifications. 3. Customization: Android phones offer more customization options that allow users to adjust the look and functionality of the device. Apple phones provide a more consistent user interface and fewer customization options. 4. Integration: Apple phones have tighter integration with other Apple products, such as Mac computers and Apple Watch, while Android phones offer excellent compatibility with various devices and services. 5. Updates: Apple phones typically receive software updates longer than Android phones, with many models receiving updates for up to 5 years. Android updates vary by manufacturer and carrier. Some models may receive fewer or no updates. 6. App Store: Apple has a closed App Store with strict control over which apps can be downloaded. Android has an open App Store where anyone can publish apps. This increases diversity but also increases malware risk. 7. Price. Apple phones are more expensive than Android phones and have a smaller price range. Android phones come in a variety of price ranges, including budget options. Disadvantages of Android over iPhone. 1. Different Android OS. All mobile companies are optimizing their Android OS for various customized UIs such as Oxygen OS, One UI, Color OS, MIUI, Punch Touch OS, etc. This customization makes it difficult for users to use their smartphones. It also enables ads within the custom UI. 2. Less update than iPhone. Only Android One Mobile gets updates quickly, not correctly providing software updates. Other companies do not offer monthly security patch updates. They give this security patch update once every 2 to 3 months. 3. Not secured. Android phones are highly secure, but professional hackers can hack Android phones more easily than iPhones. Advantages of iOS compared to Android. 1. Security. iOS is very famous for the safety it provides to buyers. It's a better choice than Android in terms of safety. If you're in a good position, be it a company owner, CEO, politician, actor, athlete, military, police, or another superstar, the iPhone is the best choice for security. For your personal and business life, hacking iOS is very difficult. 2. Excellent specs. Apple makes no compromises and uses the highest quality materials to make iPhones. It offers the best mobile, SoC, excellent build quality, camera, display, and security. 3. Great software experience. iPhone offers the most straightforward software experience compared to Android phones, and once you've got iOS, you'll always prefer iOS over Android mobile. This is because the optimization between the hardware and software of the iPhone is much better than that of an Android phone. One of the strengths of the iPhone is that Apple builds its hardware and software. 4. Software update. Apple simultaneously releases software updates for all iPhones, whether an older or a newer mobile. Additionally, all iPhones can provide long-term security patch updates and operating system updates. This is because Apple products are less numerous compared to Android mobiles. Apple may provide software for updates for iPhone for a minimum of 5 years. Disadvantages of iPhone over Android. 1. Too much expensive. The product is lovely and stylish, while the price of Apple products is too high. Brands like Samsung are working hard to make unique, affordable phones, then pay Apple Premium and think they've been cheated on. 2. Apple ecosystem. The Apple ecosystem is a blessing and a curse. Once you get in, it's tough to get out. The ecosystem exists essentially to get consumers to buy more Apple products. You will most likely purchase a MacBook if you have an iPhone and not a Windows laptop. That way, you won't be able to see if other brands have a better device, and you'll have to wait for Apple to make a device or update an older model. 3. Doesn't come with an SD card slot. iPhone doesn't come with an SD card slot, so upgrading your storage space after buying your phone isn't an option. So you will likely have to buy an expensive, higher internal storage version. 4. Battery doesn't last longer. Another one of the main downsides of the iPhone is its battery life. The iPhones have lower battery life than Androids. Conclusion: ultimately, the iPhone versus Android debate will depend on your choice. You must choose between Android's flawed and fragmented openness and Apple's quality experience in a closed environment. We have discussed the pros and cons of both operating systems. Now you know which device provides the specs you choose in a better way. We also discussed the price difference between the two. Now it's your decision which one you want to buy.